From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, fundamental structural changes underway at Florida State. Wait. All they did was get rid of the defensive backs coach, the cornerbacks coach. So never mind. But let's do a show. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. WarchantBogo, your promo code. Buy one, get one free. It's the holiday season. Hook it up, everybody. Buy one, get one free over at vitaminenergy.com with the promo code WarchantBogo. One little bottle, not even 2 full fluid ounces. Enough energy to get you through your day. The vitamins and nutrients to make you better at getting through your day. Again, it's buy one, get one free. What are we waiting for, America? VitaminEnergy.com, WarchantBogo, your promo code. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Come on home, everybody. Read up on your Noles. The potentially, not bowl eligible, Corey, but like bowl sought after Noles, but they're going to sit this one out. We're not going to sit today out. What's up, Corey? How are you, friend?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing? Did you have a good weekend? Do anything fun?
Well, what an absolutely gross weekend in North Florida. I think
it was. Yeah.
From Tallahassee all the way out here to the Atlantic coast, man, just cold and rainy and gross, but got the Christmas lights up at the house out here on the East Coast, so that was good and productive. Hung out with the future father-in-law. That's always a good thing, right?
Yeah.
And then I watched some ball on Saturday. I was able to watch the games that mattered, the Big Ten championship and the ACC championship game, but I don't know. What did I miss watching the SEC championship game, right? Did I miss anything? It was a game that was played. I guess it had some level of stakes. I don't think it did. But, yeah, the weekend was solid. How about you, man? I missed everybody at the Christmas party. Sorry, I'll be back next year to rip it up.
Yeah, we had a good time at Gene's. We do a white elephant gift exchange. And, it's not an exchange because we don't have to bring anything. We just take. And the Clarks left with a TV.
What?
Yeah. How about that? We also had an ice maker, but that was taken away. But we still got the TV. So, yeah, man, it was a good time had by all. We watched the end of the Georgia-Alabama game. Then afterwards went over to Corner Pocket to watch.
Oh, nice.
What I guess you have to say is one of the best football coaches that's ever lived.
Kirk Cignetti.
I don't understand it, man.
It's incredible, man.
I feel like I know a little bit about sports and about college football in particular. I can't put this – there's nothing to compare it to. Nobody does this.
No.
This is crazy. But not just that they're winning. They're not even doing it like fluke-like. Like they didn't even play all that well on offense.
Yeah.
Their defense is incredible. Where did these guys come from?
I don't know. Kent State.
Crazy.
Literally,
yeah, I know their defensive lineman is from Kent State. Yeah, it's insane how good that how
overnight,
unfluke-like.
Overnight, and then how real it seems as well. Yeah, it's not smoke and mirrors.
It wasn't like they fluked their way to that win. Now Ohio State had to shank a short kick, but that was just to tie it up. Indiana's defense is it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so interesting weekend watching college football, and then we got the clown show that is always the noon on Sunday committee reveal, which is always fun for everyone.
Think how awesome Selection Sunday is for NCAA basketball. Everybody around the country is tuning in. Is excitement. There's obviously some bittersweet. There's some teams that are left angry, but overall, it's just the joy of what is to come. This is Black Sunday. It's the worst day of the year.
Every year.
It's terrible.
Yeah. And I don't think they did anything outrageous on Sunday. To me, I don't understand the Alabama thing, and I don't. What I don't understand about Notre Dame and Miami, I know Notre Dame fans are mad, and then they decided they're not going to their bowl, which we can get into because the program we cover should have done that 2 years ago. When they were snubbed. Florida State was actually snubbed.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if a 2-loss team, you call yourself snubbed, but whatever. I do think Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame because they played, and Miami beat them. And
played 13 weeks ago.
Was it still 2025? Or it still said that on the calendar, right? And all their other metrics were very, very close.
Yeah,
it wasn't like,
They were.
Miami had the 80th strength of schedule
Yeah.
in 90-second game control. They were both very close, and the fact that they played each other. What was dumb is that Notre Dame was ahead of them for weeks when they had the same record. And then all of a sudden, when it matters most,
Yeah.
you're going to flip it. Just like all of a sudden, when it matters most, Florida State's going to drop.
Yeah.
So none of those first 6 shows, whatever they do, it's all nonsense.
Yeah.
And then, Alabama was the only team that lost the conference championship game that didn't drop at all.
Would it have been any better if they would have just dropped Florida State to 5th in 2023 after the North Alabama games? Be like, yeah, you're
Yes.
not going to. And then be like, okay, you didn't beat Florida and Louisville convincingly enough to get back into the top 4. It's
You
just the
say
fact that
any
everything
better,
was
yeah.
everything was seemingly okay,
Yep.
and then it all just changed overnight, and it was like, what? Why? And that's kind of what it feels like for some of these teams this year, but not
right,
to the
and
degree.
that's what they'd have to do. Like, get rid of the show.
Yeah.
Or be more transparent about it, because what happens is, these Notre Dame fans are left dumbfounded. Like, how could this happen? Florida State was undefeated and ranked, 2nd in the country? And dropped to 5th. What's crazy about it, I still can't believe it. They dropped to 5th, but they were still ahead of Georgia. How do you do that math?
Right.
If you think Florida State can't compete at a high enough level to be worthy of a top 4 seed when they're undefeated, what the hell are they doing in front of Georgia?
It's
who
a
was
consolation.
Awesome?
It was like
Right.
it was a lousy consolation.
But
Well,
so then you
were the
don't really take
first one out. Yeah.
It's hard to take that into any of the rankings seriously.
Yeah.
If they put as much thought into that as they do everything else, who cares about any of this? But yeah, so yes, I think if they'd have done it before, at least after Florida, that would have made a little more. Not that it would have made sense. I still would have been irate. It would have been ridiculous. But don't wait until see if Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game to be like, now what do we do?
Yeah.
We can't have Alabama ahead of Texas because Texas beat Alabama at Alabama. Well, then we can't have Texas. No, we can have Texas and Alabama, and let's just say that Brock Glenn isn't good enough. Even though Brock Glenn wasn't going to be the quarterback against Michigan, whatever. Yes, I think that would have helped. It would have gotten us prepared for it.
Exactly.
It was still a travesty. It was still
Yeah.
one of the biggest jokes in this sport's history. But yeah, the Notre Dame contingent. The people on Twitter, the AD that came out and said this is a joke, which he's not wrong. It is a joke because it doesn't make sense. How are you sitting there on a couch, ranked ahead of a team? That team is sitting on a couch too, ranked behind you. You didn't play. Nothing changed, and yet now you're behind them. How's that work?
Yeah,
Okay.
all of a sudden, maybe that game that was played 14 weeks ago, actually, it does matter now. We didn't the previous 6 weeks, it did not matter. Now it does matter. It just complete nonsense, and doubly bitter for a Florida State fan or just a college football fan. A Florida State college football fan, obviously, is that Miami is the one that kind of profited from, this committee finally having a conscience or developing some level of a backbone, I guess, and saying that head-to-head does matter. So Miami's in the playoff. Florida's future coach is in the playoff. You could have gone to a bowl game. You said no, which I thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. First good thing you've done this year, I feel like. Could you imagine having to go cover? What if they would have been 5-8? Imagine that, Corey.
Well,
5-8,
man. 5-8, 5-7. It's all a cluster. What's the difference? Just add another. What's one more? Whip of the belt to your backside. It all feels the same. You go numb after a while, anyway. I think I'm not speaking from experience there, gang. I don't want you to think Stephanie and I do stuff. So I don't. I keep coming back to this word, and it's kind of permeated my thought process about this program for 2 years. The indignity of it. Like, there is an indignity to missing a bowl 2 years in a row. It's gross. And 4 out of 6 years. It's just gross. There's no excuse. I know COVID was a pretty good one there at the beginning. You didn't have to be that bad, though. But there's no excuse for not going to a bowl 4 times out of 6 years. That's an indignity all on its own. But going to a bowl at 5-7, like you're Florida Atlantic, man, come on. Going to play Georgia Southern in the Birmingham Bowl in late December, gross. Yeah. I'm glad they did it too. Not because I don't think they definitely could use some work. I don't think it wouldn't be beneficial. It's just, to me, more than anything, it's the indignity of it. Like,
Yeah.
It's almost more embarrassing to play in that game as a 5-7 team than to just miss out completely. In fact, I think it would be.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be more embarrassing to have to go to a bowl because of your APR score, which is good, which we should commend, but other teams backed out, than earning it on your own. So, yes, I'm glad they said no to that.
Googling Pete Bevacqua, who is the AD at Notre Dame, brings up the top stories result on Google. Headline from Yahoo: Notre Dame despondent after being left out of CFP. Overwhelming shock and sadness. ESPN: Irish say no to bowl after CFP snub. Rankings, quote, farce. Alabama.com: Notre Dame AD playoff was stolen from our student athletes. They went 10-2.
Yeah.
They went 10-2.
Yep. They went 10-2, and one of the teams that it's not like, again, it's not like there was a team with 3 losses ranked above them. I know Alabama finished with 3 losses, but guess what? Alabama's in a conference and played a conference championship game. You're not in a conference, so boo-hoo. Mm-hmm. But again, I just want to come back to, I want to look this up. I don't know if there's any other team in the last 12 years, since they started doing this, that has been ranked behind teams with worse records. If they're in a Power 4 conference, I should say. Except Florida State. It happened in 2024. They were behind 2 different teams who had 1 loss. They were undefeated. 2014.
Yeah.
They had 0 losses. 2 teams in front of them had 1 loss. And then in 2023, they were behind 4 teams, 2 of which had 1 loss, and they had 0. That's not how the world works. Notre Dame was at least on even footing with all those teams in front of them, or lesser footing. The teams in front of them either had 0 losses or 1 loss or 2 losses, which is what they had. So cry me a river, man. And one of the teams that you were competing with for one of those final spots beat you. I know it sucks. I know you think you're a better team than you were earlier in the season. That's fine. The game did get played, and it counted. You could have won the game, and then this wouldn't be an option. Or you could have beaten Texas A&M. I get it. Or, you could be in a conference and you'd gotten to play Duke on Saturday night. And I feel like you'd have handled the Blue Devils pretty well. I think Notre Dame's one of the best teams in the country. Like, literally probably one of the five best teams in the country the way they're playing. Tough break, man. Join a conference.
Yes, sir. How horrible was that game in Charlotte?
The whole thing's embarrassing, man. It's not just the game itself. Like, the fact that those were the 2 teams, the fact that the stands were half full. Virginia's playing for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Like, literally a playoff spot is on the line. I think Virginia losing is probably what kicked Miami up, maybe. But anyway, I don't know that they were going to take Virginia and Miami.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did that to also throw the ACC a bone. I agree.
Thank God they did. But it's about time, right? Thank God you threw the bone to the guys in South Florida, the ones that really deserved it, with the home loss to Louisville and the loss to SMU, not the undefeated one 2 years ago. Yeah. But the fact that, you think about Virginia and Duke, Duke's, what is Duke from Charlotte, an hour?
I think.
Virginia's probably 3 hours. Charlottesville, 4 hours. That place is half full.
It was 40 degrees, man. It was 40 degrees. Kind of
gross.
Man.
I wonder if Alabama and Georgia had been playing in 40-degree weather, if it would have been half empty. It's just another bad optics from this conference. The whole season was embarrassing, starting with the team we cover. Clemson being sliding, still 5-loss Clemson or whatever they ended up with. The fact that a 5-loss team won the ACC championship. The fact that a team that didn't even play in the conference championship is your playoff representative. The fact that your team that won the conference championship wasn't ranked to go to the playoff. It was all just an embarrassing season. And Florida State is a huge part of that. This whole thing was embarrassing. But, yeah, it just, again, you go from watching the SEC championship game, which, honestly, it didn't matter.
It did not at all.
No stakes. To watching the Ohio State-Indiana game, which – no real stakes there either, other than Indiana gets to win a championship. But they were going to be 1 and 2, probably, no matter what. They were both going to get a bye, no matter what happened. But even still, those places were electric, great crowds, energy. It wasn't a good game in Atlanta, but at least it was attended. And then you go to the one playoff game that actually did have implications. Even the BYU Texas Tech game was really well attended. In the one game that did have huge implications, nobody's there. Now, Could the ACC stop being idiots and maybe put their game in a dome? That'd help. But again, are Virginia fans going to come travel to watch their football team? I can tell you, after watching this conference for the last 30 years, no, they're not. And Duke isn't either. So it's just Duke, Virginia is perfect for this conference. And I sure wish the Florida State would get good again.
I think Duke is the first 5-loss ACC champion since
Florida State?
2005.
That's right. Drew Weatherford's own, knocking off Marcus Vick and the Hokies.
That's right.
In the inaugural.
Oh.
Remember back then, you think, man, they're going to be in this game every year.
Yeah.
Those are going to run this thing, and then not quite.
Well, just like Miami fans thought they were going to win this conference, and they've yet to win it, but yet somehow find themselves in the college football playoff. But I digress. There's some other national stuff I want to talk about, Corey, but this isn't Wake Up Nations, Wake Up Warchant. Friday, which is the only news that we unfortunately have to pass along as we record the show for you folks on your Monday, which I don't want to say I'm gobsmacked, but I'm even more disappointed. I don't know if
I'm irritated. I'm very irritated by it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Florida State has not made any significant changes publicly. They have not announced any significant public changes to the staff and the shape and the structure of the program, but they did let go of Patrick Surtain. The one coach whose name I think echoes within most football circles. There's a part of the fan base that was like, well, if his son wasn't worth anything, then no one would care about him. It's like, well, that's part of it though, man. Like he is the father of one of the best NFL players in the country. Recruits know about that. Patrick Surtain had a good run in South Florida as a high school coach. People talk about that was an underperforming unit, which I guess I don't know, man.
Said that.
A lot of people on the internet that I don't know that are Florida State fans that are sick of hearing everybody bellyache about Florida State matters. So they push back on anything negative, which is somewhat admirable. But it's like in this case, I don't know. This feels weird. I'm not saying Patrick Surtain could not have been relieved at some point in this offseason, Corey, but for that to be like the first button you push is just, to me, doesn't make any sense, man. His guys have performed. Azaria Thomas is in the NFL. Jarian Jones is in the NFL. Renardo Green made it to the NFL. I mean, I know that was a Willie Taggart, perhaps, obviously a recruit. But they brought in Jerry Wilson. That was a Tony White kind of addition. Jabril Rawls has made some great strides. Was that all Evan Cooper? I don't know, man. Just to have that be the only thing that you've announced ever since you lost to at that point a 3-win Florida team is very irritating, I guess, as you said, Corey.
Yeah, I can't imagine the Surtain thing was for on-field performance. It wouldn't make sense. You look on this program right now. Look at these position groups. Name a position group that's been better than the cornerbacks. And I'm not saying the cornerbacks. It's not like it's Dion and T-Buck over there. Yeah. But who's been better? Like the safeties have been a revolving door. Shaheem Brown just regressed. But again, that's not fair. Earl Little was good this year.
Earl Little and Ashton Barker.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I thought the secondary as a whole was fine.
Yeah.
They were good.
Agreed.
Linebackers have been abysmal. The defensive line,
The ends, yeah. You haven't got any sort of disruptive pass rusher.
I think you like the Desirs, but not much else that you liked in Darrell Jackson. Offensive line, sure, he did a fine job. Running backs,
nope.
Wide receiver, you got Deuce. Nobody else can stay on the field or be good. Mekhi Danzy, I guess. So there's one out of 10.
Yeah, but McCoy. To your point, though, he's not healthy and on the field. But it feels like we've seen enough from McCoy to where we can almost confidently say now if he stays healthy, he is a legitimate.
Oh, he's a guy. He might be a one. He might be really good. But again, you got to stay healthy. It's 2 years in a row now, so we can't just assume it. But yeah, I mean, there's no position group where you'd be like, well, that guy Tim Harris has definitely done better than Surtain. Or Herb Hand has definitely done better than Surtain.
John Papuchis.
Papuchis for sure has not
Tony
done
Tokars.
better. Nobody.
Or Chris Thompson.
So that
David Johnson.
And it's not like they announced it. We should I guess there is a delineation there. Differentiate, because it wasn't like Florida State announced the firing. It was just found out about. I'm sure there are going to be other changes, but Florida State, man, I'm woefully disappointed that it has been 2 weeks. I think it's been 15 days now. This is day 15 since they announced that Norvell is coming back. Is that right? Is my math right?
Let me look it
they
up.
announced it the day after this NC State game.
Yeah.
So in the week of the Florida
Saturday
game, and then the week after that was this championship game.
The
so,
23rd, the Sunday, November 23rd, 12:53 p.m., a date that will live in infamy.
Right. So it's been 15 days since you told all your fans, hey, deal with it, but we're going to make changes. And the only change that they know about right now is a guy they had no issue with, who has a big name in the sport. It was actually doing pretty well with his on-the-field performance anyway. So that's not a great start to this. And I would encourage the powers that be, or Mike Norvell himself. Mike, you're driving in the office, listen to this. If you're going to make more announcements or not more announcements, if you're going to make more changes, announce them and announce them quickly. Because you can't just dangle Patrick Surtain. Like, at least Papuchis people have been like, all right, okay, that was a position that was performing woefully, and the special teams have been a disaster. So, okay, at least that's merit-based. This doesn't even look merit-based.
Yeah.
At least in relation to the other assistant coaches. So, again, I have a hard time believing it was on-field performance. What I think could be happening, maybe I could be wrong, is that they just want one secondary coach, and they'll put that money elsewhere. I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know how many colleges. I don't think every college has a cornerbacks coach and a safeties coach. They might. Or maybe they have somebody else in mind that's going to make us all forget about Patrick Surtain. I don't know. Again, maybe Dion's coming. But aside from that, this isn't a great look where this gets announced on a Friday, and it's the only change we know about. It's not the only change that's coming, and I guess we'll all find out eventually. But, man, you got to do a lot of damage control. And you should worry about your PR because your PR sucks. And your program sucks. And everybody that's listening to this and that's listening to this show wants you to fix it. And they want to know that's what you're doing right now, is fixing it. So and maybe today they announce sweeping changes, Aslan. Maybe by the time people are listening to this, they already know that John Lynch has taken over as the FSU GM. Whatever's coming down the pike, that would be awesome. But, man, quit waiting around. Like, people want to know because right now, Surtain, you had a good recruiting class, all things considered. I don't know how you could not call going 7. You go 7-17 and sign the 14th ranked class. It's a good recruiting class, all things considered. And you have to consider all things with this program right now. Yeah. But then to not have any change, 2 weeks, we're 2 weeks out of you telling us that there's going to be structural changes, and we're 6 weeks out or 8 weeks out of you saying there was going to be a comprehensive assessment of this football program. Well, so far, the only person that's been sacrificed is one of the better coaches that you might have had on your staff, at least in terms of production and playing, which I guess is kind of how you should judge all position groups. But his players played pretty well. So, okay, man, great. I'm not saying I don't know what the behind-the-scenes deal was. There might have been staff dynamics. It might have been a Tony White decision because Surtain wasn't his guy. Maybe they have somebody else coming in place. Maybe Surtain, I can't imagine that. I think all the players all liked him, but maybe he wasn't well-liked, but that seems to be hard to believe.
Micah Pettis. The offensive linemen were despondent over. Wayne
McCoy. Yeah. So, but they don't play for him. Maybe the corners that play for him are like, hey, all right, okay. I can't imagine that because, again, they played well for him, I thought, at times. Rawls had a breakout year until he got hurt.
Yeah.
Rawls and Wilson was good, not great, but good. And then I think we like Arnaud. So, and we also liked AZ, and we liked Cypress, and we liked what he did with Renardo Green. Like, there's a lot of proof there. So, yeah, just frustrating. You can tell I'm frustrated because I want to know what's happening. We all want to know what the plan is. And so far, the only domino that's fallen was nothing to do with anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't a domino that had to fall. This wasn't the reason your program was a train wreck the last 2 years. So let's start seeing some real dominoes fall. And wish luck to Patrick Surtain. He was always nice to talk to. We didn't get to talk to him much, but when we did, he was always matter-of-fact and easy to talk to and informative. So I hope and I'm sure he will land on his feet.
Also, Zach Arnett, analyst extraordinaire, in this would have been the weirdest transaction in the entire year for college football, but it's college football, so Virginia Tech said, hold my beer. But Zach Arnett, who was the defensive coordinator for Mississippi State when Mike Leach took the job the same year that Mike Norvell took the Florida State job, then became interim coach after the untimely passing of Coach Leach, and then became the permanent coach at Mississippi State, and then ultimately fired as the head coach at Mississippi State, returns to Mississippi State to be its defensive coordinator. Arnett was an analyst this past year. He played under Tony White. Tony White brought him in, and you thought that was a really good kind of duo to have another guy that might even have been worthy of a head coaching job being an analyst for you. Goes to be the DC back in Mississippi State, so that's another staffing sort of vacancy. But Virginia Tech decided to rehire the guy they just fired as their head coach to be their defensive coordinator. I like it, though, man. So Brent Pry cut his teeth with James Franklin at Vanderbilt and Penn State, left the nest of James Franklin to go be his own man and take his first head coaching job at Blacksburg for Virginia Tech. They fired him, hired his mentor. His mentor is like, I'm bringing you back. Just college football, Corey, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's crazy. I've never heard of anything like it. The Arnett thing makes sense, but the Brent Pry, I guess, makes sense. It's just such an odd look. Like, to get fired – and then later, the very next year, right? He was fired this year.
Yes.
So 3 months later, he didn't have to sell his house. So yeah, and he still gets that buyout, I'm sure. What a life. So less responsibility, same location, same house. Kids get to go to the same school. And now he's just got, he's just the defensive coach. I've never heard of anything like that, of a coach getting fired and then the new coach hiring him as a coordinator, but yeah, it's college football in 2025, man. We've never experienced any of this. And look, if Silverfield wants to hire Norvell as his OC, I don't know. I don't think that'd mitigate it, would it? I don't think that mitigated enough the salary. So yeah, it's really, really. But it would have been like whoever took over after Lane Kiffin at USC, then hired him as the OC,
right?
And I don't remember who that was that took over after Lane Kiffin. But
was it Sark? It was Sark, because there was somebody before Clay
Sark,
Helton.
and then Sark had the public intoxication.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
What's not a crazy time, unless it's the good kind of crazy, is hanging out with your friends and the denizens of Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, located at 2475 Appalachia Parkway. You can check out the menu online at cptallybar.com. But just know, all the food's good. Yeah. Like everything from the basics, the wings, things like tater tots, to even the higher end items like ahi tuna, seared ahi tuna, the Cory wrap as well.
Mussels.
Yes.
Yeah. Mussels.
Like what? What do we do?
Yeah.
Just
the whole gamut. Runs the whole gamut over there.
Trivia night going down on Tuesday, as always, 7 p.m. Thursday night bingo, 4 rounds, $250 in cash money up for grabs in each single round. As Corey outlined last week, there's house cash up for grabs when you play trivia. Mm-hmm. Ice cold drinks, very affordable. Very affordable. Delicious food, televisions galore, darts, billiards, everything you'd want at your favorite sports bar. And Corey Clark's there usually, everybody. Corner Pocket
Bar. You know who else is a regular there is Matt Lasser.
Okay.
I guess I could start calling him a regular now. But the reason he comes up, and if you don't know, you should. He works at Warchant. He's
awesome.
One of our recruiting guys and does a really good job. He's also like 25. He's 24. He's still definitely young enough to go to college town and hang out with that crowd.
Yep.
But he likes Corner Pocket because of the cheapness of the drinks.
Yes, sir.
Not cheap as in bad quality. It's all the same stuff, but low price.
The aggressive
drinks.
prices.
I'm telling you, yeah.
We're telling you, go check it out, everybody. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, cptallybar.com, the website.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Why would you wander around a warehouse store looking for paint when you could just swing by your neighborhood Ace? In addition to Ace's award-winning service, we have top-rated paint brands. Plus, our color matching technology allows us to match any color. So stop wandering and start painting. Head to your neighborhood Ace today.
In Crawfordville, your home convenience store is Ace Home Center and NAPA Auto Parts, located at 2709 Crawfordville Highway. We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. You know who didn't have offset in their contract? Bunch of idiots. The people in Gainesville, University of Florida, apparently. But apparently Billy Napier did not have any offset language in his buyout, Corey. So he lands at James Madison
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the cradle now of coaching. Bob Chesney headed to UCLA. That just feels like a good fit. He is not from Los Angeles or California. He is from, I think, Massachusetts. But he just looks West Coast. So good luck to Coach Chesney after he coaches his Dukes in the playoff, then going to UCLA. But Billy Napier,
which is kind of a joke, right? Like what?
It all is. He ends his
in the game
interviews
instead of Notre Dame? Like why is James Madison in the game instead of in the playoffs instead of Notre Dame?
Ends his interview with Go Dukes, and John Sumrall ended his interview after. So they interviewed every single coach during the CFP, post-selection show thing or whatever. Sumrall ends his thing with roll wave. It's like, dude, you're leaving. You literally told them after I'm done with this interview, I'm getting on a plane and going to Gainesville for 3 days.
Oh, really? Is that true?
Yeah, maybe not 3 days, but I'm getting on a plane. I'm going to Gainesville. I will look at the last 2 games Ole Miss has played on film. I'll be there for a couple days to recruit and get things set up, and then I'll get back here, and then we'll be well into game week preparation or whatever. They've already played Ole Miss once. They got curb stomped, so he probably doesn't have to be that much on his P's and Q's. But I'm just all these things, man. And I don't want to bring the vibe all the way down, Corey. But again, Miami's in the playoff. What? Florida, so many of these coaches, a lot of these places I know are not excited maybe about their coaching hires. Penn State had to go through the wilderness and ended up with Matt Campbell, but I think they're going to be able to delude themselves and I think we're good. I think he's got better record against top 10 teams than James Franklin. They said they're going to give
a lot less games.
Yeah. They're going to commit, a bunch of money to NIL, which
sure.
How? There's a cap on this stuff, everybody. And then, Florida, for as bad as they were, Kirby was talking about, you look at this roster. He's like, we all ridiculed Florida, but that's a roster with big, physical, talented players. So if they have the right coach, they might hit the ground running and be okay. And then their coach was so terrible, but he landed a head coaching job. Would have Mike Norvell have landed a head coaching job at a school that's going to the playoff? Just a lot of not goodness out there. And that's why it's so – I know the calendar is the calendar, Corey. The transfer portal window opens January 2nd. That's still, I don't know, in college football days, that's a light year or two away, it feels like. But this Florida State has to announce something of major import that's going to change the trajectory of this immediate future for them, because what else is there to hang on to right now if you're a fan, man?
There isn't. I mean, there's nothing to believe in right now. And you don't have any reason to believe in this guy, nor should you. We'll see what the next 4 weeks give us. Look, we could be sitting here 4 weeks from now and think, okay, you could see a way that this is okay. I like that. Okay, he's did what? He played where? There could be a lot of additions, or he's coming back. Okay, that gets you excited. As I've said and will continue to say until we actually know who it's going to be, quarterback is it is by far paramount. It's the most paramount decision they're going to make, more than a GM, almost, in my opinion. I mean, they might go hand in hand. We don't even know what Gus is doing. We don't know anything. And
let's revisit some of that then, Corey. Unless I don't want to knock you off your spot too much. But in talking to Mike, did you have a good feel at all when we spoke to him on Friday what is going to happen? Sounds like Tony White's probably safer than Gus, but what's that saying?
Think, and safer implies he'd be in danger of being fired. I think he would just move on or quit or something.
Yeah.
Yes, I do think Tony White's, because he talked about Tony White. He just talked about Tony White, period, when he was talking about some of the players that were coming up and some of the decisions they made, the recruiting. He brought up Tony White specifically, and maybe development. I can't remember what the context was. He never brought up Gus's name once. He was asked, because he was asked about decisions that were coming, and he's like, we're not going to comment on that right now. And then he was asked a point of clarity, I think from Brendan, do you intend to have Tony White and Gus Malzahn back next year? And he said, yeah. But I think he was saying, yeah, as in okay, that's the same question. Let me go through this. Because then he's like, we're not going to comment on stuff like that. And it's well, if they were both coming back 100%, why wouldn't you tell us? Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
What's the secret game? You want people to think you want them gone? Like that just doesn't make sense. It wouldn't compute if they were both coming back. If they were both coming back, he would say yes. I think my intention, my plan is that they both come back. My goal is that they both come back.
What if Gus, there's some sort of gentleman's agreement, like I will move on, just give me some time to like get my ducks in a row so I can land a job somewhere else, and if I don't, like I would like to come back. I hope Mike wouldn't be in a position where he thinks that's a good idea, but maybe.
I mean, who's running the program then? Yeah. Who's running the program at that point? It's supposed to be his program. Yeah. Yes, I wouldn't hope that Gus Malzahn is dictating he's the domino. He's the guy that's tipping over the dominoes, deciding what happens to Mike Norvell's program is Gus Malzahn. This needs to be the week where I know we even gave him the excuse, the wide berth of signing day. And you wanted to get all your ducks in a row there and make sure you got all 90 kids signed. We gave them that. That was the rationale. And then Friday comes and they don't make an announcement. We just happen to find out that Surtain's gone. And then the weekend, nothing. And I don't know if they didn't want to take, they want to take away the spotlight from the games and then the college football committee. Wow. But what are we waiting on, man? It's been 2 weeks of telling us that you thought they were going to be looking into structural changes, or however they phrased it.
Both possible structural changes and then obviously fundamental changes. Norvell has pledged to institute fundamental changes in specific areas to improve performance. Then Board of Trustees Chairman Peter Collins, these deficiencies may include structural changes to the very large and complex program.
Yeah, so what's a good word? Yeah. So, for now, it's just the cornerbacks coach. Which is it makes you want to roll your eyes, and I just did actually when I was saying that. But here's the thing: I think when this normally happens, it'll be quiet, like a guy will just go away. Like let's just say that Derek Ray is no longer employed, or he gets a different job. We won't know where he stands in the hierarchy. They will announce at some point a GM takes over, but when, and what's the holdup? Like what's the wait? Do they? I would have felt like ever since the Stanford game, to me it seems like ever since the Stanford game. I could be wrong, but in hindsight, looking back on it, we should have known then if he's not fired after that, he's not going to be fired. No. As long as he just doesn't go 3-9. If he wins just a couple of these games, whether on the road, I know, quit laughing, or at home, a couple of them, maybe he's going to stay. So at that point, aren't you thinking about the fundamental changes you're going to make?
I would hope. You would hope.
So you would think a week after your season is over, all these other schools have hired people already in every position. And I think maybe that's not true, not all of them, but there have been so much news all over the country when it comes to job openings and job closings and everything in between that you would have thought Florida State by now, with a fan base that is rabidly frustrated and really, really wanting some information, any type of news, good news or bad news, any type of news, mostly good news. You'd like some good news. But I'm saying, like, just don't keep it all a secret. I just don't think that's the right play right now. Normally, these types of things are happened in-house, and they're happened quietly. A guy just gets his pink slip, and he's out the door. Maybe they take his name off the staff directory on the website.
Oh, let me start looking at it. Yeah.
That's it. So we got it. Don't make us just reload the staff directory page over and over again to see if anybody's missing. Like, announce some changes. They're grown men. You can announce that somebody's been relieved of their duties because you need some PR. You need a PR boost. And just sitting there looking like you're doing nothing but firing a DB's coach isn't the right play at this point. And I say all that knowing it all could come out in the next 2 days. But people are I'm impatient, and I'm a pretty patient person. Yeah. I feel like my son might not agree, but I'm getting impatient with. Yeah. I'm getting impatient with it. I was patient on Sunday night waiting for you to record this show. Am I right, Aslan? Pretty patient.
Hey, man, just miscommunication. I wasn't leaving you out to dry. Yeah, as we sit here and record late on Sunday night, Derek Ray still in the directory. So is David Johnson, who one of the other websites in the industry reported that Arkansas was apparently kicking the tires on David Johnson. I'm sure when David Johnson was at Memphis.
Now is Surtain still in it?
No, but Zach Arnett is, and Zach Arnett's gone.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, Let me double check. Surtain. Yeah, he is there actually.
Yeah, so we can't take anything from that. We can't even upload the pages
dude,
anymore.
When guys enter the transfer portal, Florida State is the king of petty. They pull guys off their roster page
as soon as they're out.
Quickness,
yeah.
with a quickness. So
you would have thought Surtain wouldn't still be there anymore, but whatever. So let's just hope.
Again, January 2nd, Core, the transfer portal starts. And, Jeff, I think when I listened to you guys on Headlines last week, said that it's going to be tough for a GM to make a big impact on this next cycle, this upcoming cycle, rather, because, there's still some relationship-based stuff, and you got to know who's going to be in there and the connections to that particular player. But I don't know, January 2nd, listen, I'm with you, man. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, although I know the devil doesn't need an advocate right now when it comes to talking about Florida State. But, January 2nd, you feel like, well, you still have some time to make sure you get the right hire. And what do you need, like 10 days to get ready for the transfer portal? And again, they can put their names in from the 2nd to the 16th. They don't have to commit by January 16th. They just have to have their name in the portal. But then obviously if you're in the college football playoff, it goes a little bit longer. But yeah, maybe it's just we want to triple check and make sure we have everything. But then you're like, okay, that's fine. But why did you fire Patrick Surtain? And why was that the first thing you announced? I don't.
Well, and again, they didn't announce it, but it's the first thing that we know about. Right. Yeah, man, I'm with you. I think that when it comes to the GM, I think you could. He doesn't need to be here now necessarily, but it would behoove them to get quick if they're making a change. Because look, man, this is the month. Like we're only December 8th. So, but this is the month, right? You've got to figure some things out. You've got to know who's coming back. You've got to know who's leaving. What portal guys might be interested because they're dabbling, they're dipping their toes in already. So you got to know who might be interested, what it's going to cost, what money you have for each position. All that's got to be figured out. It's a 105-man roster. To put that in perspective, the NFL is a 53-man roster. This is double that. So this is a huge ordeal. And they're all scholarship players, so this isn't just you put on some walk-ons. Like you want all these guys, you want most of them that you think can play, and you hope they have value. So it is a huge undertaking. And bringing someone in at Christmas when the portal is 7 days away, it doesn't seem ideal when you're trying to build a roster for next year, a roster that should be intact by January 12th. So you have about 2 weeks to finagle it and massage it and figure out what your roster is. Again, 105 players. Which one of these guys are you going to keep? Now, obviously, all the guys you just signed, that's 32 of the 105. They're staying. So now you've got to go get what? Let's do some quick math here. 73 more. You've got 73 more spots open. Did I do that right? I think I did.
Well, they signed 32 guys, and then
that's what I'm saying. So there's 73 more spots. Those 32 guys are coming.
Right.
They wouldn't have signed to go in the portal immediately. So you have 73 spots available.
Yeah.
Now, how many of your core group from last year, from 2025, are coming back? Figure that out.
Over 20.
You would hope. So now you got 50 spots available. And it could be 40. They might lose 20 guys, 15 guys.
They've only lost 2 so far as we've been sitting here and talking. L.A. Jesse Harold, and who's Jaden Parrish, linebacker.
But you've got a huge football team to fill out right now. But none of these guys that are on the team, as far as the new GM knows, are 100% certain. I'm sure there's stuff being done behind the scenes to make sure the guys you want to stay are staying, but nothing is official until it's official. Yeah. So you've got to get all those ducks in a row. You've got to figure out who you're going to go get in the portal. You've got to figure out how much money you're going to get for a quarterback, how much money you're going to save for the Desirs, how much money you're going to save to potentially entice Deuce to come back. Cromaw, McCoy, whoever, Earl Little. Like there's there might be a bit of,
I wouldn't be surprised if people are going to tamper, right? Like I'm sure somebody might kick the tires on a Makai Danzy or a Jabril
Well,
Rawls,
the good news
right?
is that you do still have some leadership here. This isn't Iowa State, who's just devoid of a coach right now, or how Penn State was for 2 months. You do have Mike Norvell. You do have a staff. So that does help. It's not like you're just alone in a prairie, but still, it's not great if you're going to make these changes. And next year is such an important year. I think, should be
Groundhog Day, man.
You would think that you would get some stuff figured out very, very, very quickly. And like I said, for all we know, they've already got it all in place. They just haven't made the announcements. That's giving them probably way too much benefit of the doubt, but maybe they've got everything in place. They just haven't rolled out the announcements yet. My advice is start rolling out some effing announcements so we can get excited again. Well, excited again is probably too strong, but we can start to look forward and not be so mad.
Again, it goes back to that announcement after the Stanford game and what did it really mean. And we can sit here and parse it, but the people who authored that should have known what the plan was. Because, again, listen, it's John Sumrall, and I keep bringing him up. I don't know why. Sorry, everybody. Is he going to be some sort of huge success story at Florida? I don't know. But they also went ahead and announced they had a GM in mind, too, right, Corey? They had the David Caldwell hire in mind. So, Florida State, again, should have been in planning mode going into that second bye week of the season, right? Because after Stanford was an off week. All right, man, you had an off week to really start. Like, all right, what do we want? Okay, like if we keep you, if you can win a few more games, like what is this going to look like? And that's that's a large enough berth, runway, whatever, analogy, metaphor you want to use, to have, by this point, have been able to maybe even articulate a couple things. I don't know. I mean, Mike could have said something on Friday along the lines of like, there will be staff changes, but we'll announce, there'll be a number of staff changes. We'll announce that when we, at a later time when we feel more comfortable about revealing there had to have been something to have said on Friday to give us an idea that they have an idea how they can fix this thing in a reasonably fast time.
You know what gives me hope, though, is that Indiana game. And it's not hope in this coach. I'm hopeless right now. I could be easily swayed. Go win at Bryant-Denny next year, Mike, and I'll be swayed back onto your side. Or win a road game, period. I shouldn't specify. Just any stadium that's not Doak, see if you can win a game there. There's no rhyme or reason for Indiana to look like that on defense. There just isn't. So that is what keeps filling me with hope. It also kind of fills you with a little bit of dread too. It's like, wow, if Indiana can get this good, it ain't going to be the 90s ever again. Like everybody's in play. Like back in the 90s there were, I don't know, man, when a year started there were probably 12 schools that could win a national championship or in the next couple of years. Well, I mean, Indiana in 2 years has become the best team in the country. So does that mean Vanderbilt could do it? Does that mean Purdue could do it with the right person, or UCLA? Like, who knows? It's kind of scary that Texas Tech, like everybody has the means now if they're willing to pay. But at the same time, that should fill you with a little bit of hope that, yeah, man, it could happen here. I've seen it happen. So I don't know who Indiana's general manager is. I don't know how they put that defense together. I don't know how they put that team together. I knew the quarterback. That's it. But holy cow, man. I don't know if Mark Cuban is funding their NIL. Be a famous Indiana grad and famously rich. But it's remarkable. And if they were able to do that in 2 years, to go from the worst, literally probably the worst Power 5 program in the country.
Second most losses in Power 4 history, apparently, I think. They kept talking about that stat during the game.
Yeah. And he takes over at 60 years old, and within 2 years – they're 23-1, and they're the best team in the country. They're the number one seed for the playoffs. Is outrageous. So that does fill me with hope. Again, maybe it's not this guy. Odds are it won't be. But by God, we're not destined for this. You've got to get the right hire, and you've got to get the right people in place. But you can go put together a defense in real short order that can be one of the best in the country. You don't have to be Ohio State, and you don't have to have Kirby Smart as your coach. So again. That watching that is like, man, this is just a new day and age. It's just a new day and age, and it's like when an NFL season starts, I always have high hopes not high hopes, but I'm somewhat optimistic about the Falcons. And then 10 games in, I'm like, yep, this looks the same. But the beauty is, next year they could be really good. Probably won't be. But they could be really good. I do like some of the things I've seen on defense. They've got a couple of defensive ends that can play in the last draft. The defense seems not on Sunday, but typically it's been pretty good this year. The coach needs to go, and I know a lot of people say that about Mike Norvell, and that's fine. But with a better coach or with a better GM, with a better whatever, fill in that blank, Florida State can be good again. I'm 100% convinced of that. So that's what, again, I don't think they're destined to suck as long as we're around. I think maybe a lot of people think that it's Norvell is – you got to get rid of Norvell to start over. I understand that sentiment. I am not convinced, though, that whoever they hire as a GM and whatever money they put in NIL – and I know you said there's a cap. There's not a cap. Don't get it twisted. There's supposed to be a cap with the rev share. There isn't. The NIL is going to be what the NIL is. And there's no guarantee on that yet. There's no real I don't even know if that's really signed into law yet about not having to everything has to go over to that commission and they have to look at it. I don't know what kind of teeth that commission has anyway. But I do know LSU's not going to stop at $18 million. And their $20 million rev share is going to football. LSU's going to spend 30, 35. Florida State, if they spend that much, could get a really good return on their investment, even if they had a donkey as the head coach. So let's hope they find someone that can identify talent in the next 4 weeks better than what this current staff has done. And if they can, and he gives them some real talent to work with, by God, maybe they can be in Charlotte next year playing 5-loss Duke with a berth in the with a berth in the playoffs on the line.
Underdog Fantasy Sports, whether you're into football, hoops, hockey, any sport in between, Underdog, the place to get in on all the action all season long. 4 players, Corey. I need your higher lowers on these. Let's get to it. Ty Simpson, 230.5, Bama at Oklahoma, round 1 of the playoff. Higher lower?
Lower.
Marcel Reed, A&M.
Ty Simpson looked like a skittish little freshman in that game against Georgia. He looked rattled and not good at all. I don't know if he's hurt, but he looked worse than he did against Florida State. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Marcel
Reed. I know their first game of the season and the last game of the season didn't matter.
Yeah.
They might as well not even play them. So anyway, go ahead.
A&M and the 12th man hosting the Canes, noon, December 20th. Marcel Reed, 245.5 passing yards, higher, lower?
Lower.
Okay. Trinidad Chambliss, Division II phenom for Ole Miss.
Higher.
270.5.
Yeah, sure.
Dante Moore,
he wants against Tulane.
Oregon taking on JMU. Do you even need to know the number?
Higher. No, actually lower because they'll probably play a sub in the second half.
250.5.
Lower. Yeah, we'll go lower.
That's a 10-1 payout, everybody. Corey's going to give us a winner. Boom, my picks are locked in. You folks do the same. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code WARCHANT to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Underdog, make picks, win money.
Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
We are back. It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. warchantbogo, your promo code. Part of it, Corey, getting this thing right, getting the right players, getting the right GM is going to be getting the right quarterback here. So far, not a lot of highly intriguing prospects in the portal. I think people are talking about Old Dominion's quarterback. There's a quarterback out in West Florida. I think Marcus Stokes is his name. He was originally committed to Florida. He was on social media singing a rap song, said a word that you shouldn't be saying, and got sent to purgatory at West Florida. Apparently he might be ready to come back to major college football, but I don't even think he was. I mean, he was a Division II, and I don't think he was completing 60% of his passes, so not the greatest lead on there. What can you even anticipate what you think the market could look like for a quarterback? What are they all waiting for January 2nd? Are your best options guys who are the backups on playoff teams that are sticking around, or
no?
Do you need to start tampering at some of these smaller schools? Do you need to start watching the FCS playoffs and Division II playoffs and being like, that guy looks good, let's talk to him?
I mean, yeah, it should all be on the table. It should all be on the table. I wouldn't do a backup because you have backups on your roster already. There's no guarantee with those guys. You've got to get somebody that you know can play and play at a high level. They are out there. They are out there. I mean, Indiana got one last year. Duke got one. Miami got one. Keep naming them. LSU maybe didn't get one.
You said Ole Miss already, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, no, I didn't. And Ole Miss got two. So you can go get, and you will go get someone. It has to be. You can't miss on it. It can't be a whiff. And this again, it's all inexact sciences. But not really when it comes to figuring out if a guy that's already played college football can play college football. It's an inexact science when you wonder, can Luke Kromenhoek make the jump? Well, theoretically, the people you're going to be recruiting have already made the jump and proven it. So you're not questioning whether they can play. How well can they play? And you have to get one of the better ones in the United States, in my opinion. Now, that will be dictated on whose offense this is. Again, it'd be nice to know. Because it might be hard to entice a high-level quarterback to come play in this system. And I mean high level is like an NFL prospect. But the guy at Old Dominion that you were talking about, I think it's Old Dominion.
Yeah.
He ran for like 950 yards this past year. I think he was third in the country in 20-yard runs. I'll take that. Threw for 30 touchdowns too. Like, I know it's Old Dominion, but by God, he's played at the FCS level, right? They're FCS.
No, they're
right?
FBS.
FBS. I'm sorry, I meant FBS.
Colton Joseph, by the way, that's his name. Colton Joseph. 21 touchdowns, 10 picks.
Hey, you know what I mean? How many rushing touchdowns?
59% completion percentage.
How many rushing touchdowns?
That sounds Tommy-esque. Sounds very
That's
Thomas.
what I'm saying. That's what you have to go get if you have Gus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's kind of the ceiling of the person I meant to say that anyway. That's kind of the ceiling you'd have with somebody like Gus. You've got to go get somebody who can run and be counted on to run. But if it's not Gus, then I think, and if Deuce is coming back, and if Danzy and McCoy are coming back, well, man, I just think Pittman's coming back. You could entice a really good quarterback to come play here. And you can say, oh, he's not going to want to play for Norvell. He's not going to play for a crappy program. Man, again, look around the country. These guys go wherever the money is. And they go wherever the best chance is of playing with really good players. And I do think that Florida State could offer, if it breaks a certain way, a really good skill position group to throw to. And that could be enticing. But that's the first, that is by far the first domino, in my opinion, that needs to fall in the portal and then go from there. Like, you've got to make sure you get that right. I don't think you're getting a backup anywhere. That wouldn't make any sense. I don't think you're going to be getting anyone in the portal. I mean, in the playoffs. Unless it's, I don't know, is the James Madison kid any good?
Well, what about Ole Miss's backup quarterback that got supplanted, right? Austin Simmons, he's from Florida.
I don't know, man. Is he good?
Yeah, he's not as good as Trinidad Chambliss, but he's good.
But it seems like you don't know how good he is because you don't have any. Did he play last year?
No, because they had Jackson Dart.
Yeah, so I'm saying, like, I don't know, man. Like, I want somebody that's guaranteed. They are out there. And, if Norvell's smart, he would make sure they don't get the 38th best quarterback in the portal. They go get somebody that's like, let's say, the third best quarterback in the portal. That'd be a nice start because he has not done that yet. He's done well in the portal in other areas. Obviously, that 2023 team was built on it, but not a quarterback. A quarterback, they've struggled. Let's just say they've struggled at that position. So let's hope they get it right. And yeah, I don't know how that. I would think all that stuff is like behind the scenes. Like I would think like if Florida State had a guy they wanted, maybe it's tampering. I don't care. And I'm not saying they've done it. I have no idea. You'd go to his people and let them know how interested you are. And maybe you don't even announce it there in the portal. You know what I mean? That you keep it one of those silent commits from the Bowden days. When it comes to a quarterback in particular, so it doesn't become a bidding war.
But, I mean, Pete Nakos is the one that reported about Marcus Stokes. Syracuse, Iowa, Northwestern, Old Dominion, UTEP, Buffalo, Liberty, App State, Florida State.
Man, which one of those teams doesn't belong? Read those again.
I know, but you shouldn't be in the fishing waters with those other teams.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Read those teams again.
This is the order. I read it out of order. This is the order that Pete put it in his tweet. Syracuse, Florida State, Iowa, Northwestern, Old Dominion, UTEP, Buffalo, Liberty, and App State, among others.
Okay. All right. Like I'm saying, like Florida State is trolling the same waters as App State,
right.
trawling in Buffalo, in Iowa. Now, I know Iowa's been a better program than Florida State, but not at quarterback, not in offense. Like, good night. So maybe the kid's great. I don't think I'd be too enthused about a D2 kid that completed less than 60% of his passes. But I could be made to be wrong. He might be awesome. But they've got to find someone. I would see what the number is with Mensa. Just see. Can't hurt to see. I think he's an NFL quarterback. There's other guys that are NFL quarterbacks. Just go see. Go see. Might be a guy out. Has Altmaier got any eligibility left? Kid from Illinois. What are you, a COVID recruit?
Yeah, he was the
back.
first commit that Mike had. He's actually probably the best high school quarterback that he's recruited.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So,
what about Chubba Purdy?
Man, I think he's
probably done, right?
Nevada and
Jeff Sims. Get Jeff Sims back.
You have to take him away from Kenny Dillingham's cold dead hands.
Well, actually, Sam Levitt's going to be in the portal. He's already announced that.
For sure, though, or is that just like the rumor out there?
That was just the rumor.
Yeah.
You're right. It wasn't announced, but that was the rumor. But it seemed likely anyway. So, man, they're going to be – everybody has a price. Go look around for all the best quarterbacks that have eligibility left, even if you think they'd be pretty high draft picks next year. See if they have a price. Cam Moore did. Carson Beck did. Mensa did. Mendoza did. You can fish in those waters since you saved yourself a ton of money by not firing a coach that should have been fired. So use that money wisely.
Somebody photoshopped Corey Clark's head onto Ted DiBiase after dropping "Everyone has a price." $1 Million Man.
Right,
My guy.
Old school. Hey, before we go, though, got to talk about soccer real quick.
Well, hey, real quick. Should Florida State have gone to a bowl game just to have Kevin Sperry play in it and then figure out what he is?
No, because you can't judge. You can't know off one game. That's too small a sample size, and next year's too big. And okay, he lit up Georgia Southern. What's that mean?
I don't know. We're desperate for success, Corey. That'd be great. Imagine if he went at like 22 for 31 with 309 and 3 touchdowns and 1 pick, ran for 50 yards.
I just think obviously the mistake that was made was if they knew all along, or at least in the last month, that Norvell was coming back.
Right.
Sprinkle in some new linemen. Sprinkle in some linemen to see what they look like in real game settings. And maybe Sperry, too. I get why Norvell didn't think he could do that because he was chasing a bowl. And he also thought he might have been coaching for his job. He might have thought he was coaching for his job, so he couldn't. But, yeah, I don't think one bowl game against Georgia Southern would tell you enough to be like, oh, absolutely, we've got that locked. So, no, I don't think that.
Okay. Did you want to talk about soccer before we left or hoops? They played valiantly against the Cougs. Houston's a really good team.
They out-rebounded Houston, which is unbelievable. I didn't get to watch much of the game, but that seems outrageous that they out-rebounded Houston. I'm sure it was a lot of long missed threes that they got. Defensively, they're going to struggle. They're not great there, but Houston's very good. Houston also got one kid at 8 steals, which is crazy. Florida State had 19 turnovers, and they don't typically turn the ball over like that. That's why they lost the game. Actually, is the turnovers. But yeah, considering what they looked like the previous 2 games, to go play Houston in Houston, I know it wasn't technically a home game, but it was in the city of Houston, and get outscored like 41-33 in the first half and 41-34 in the second half, that to me is that is something to at least you see some improvement. You saw they definitely competed harder, which again, so maybe they got the message. And if they'd have played like that, against Georgia and Texas A&M, that hard, and competed like that on the glass and defensively, maybe they don't win either one of those games, but they're not embarrassed. Because Houston's one of the best teams in the country, and you kind of hung with them, but then you were blown out on your home court by Georgia. Like, they just needed a shift in the mentality. And maybe that loss to Georgia was it, because I would hope they could take a little, I don't know if Luke believes in moral victories or not, but I do in year one. And I hope they can take something from competing with that team and making it making it a competitive game. Like they made it a competitive game with a bunch of really good players, some NBA players, and a really, really good coach. So, yeah, man, hats off to them for at least competing, not being blown out by 40, which I know that's not a very high bar to clear. But when you've been blown out by A&M and Georgia like they were, like just ugly, non-competitive, down by double digits the entire night, both nights, to be within striking distance for Houston somewhere in the second half, good for you. Build off it. Now you got UMass on Saturday, I think.
Correct, 13th. My mom's birthday, Taylor Swift's birthday as well for those who celebrate.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure Stephanie does. So I'm sure we'll be celebrating your mom and Taylor Swift together. And hopefully a Florida State basketball win. Playing in Sunrise, by the way, the home of the Florida Panthers.
Nice.
Against the UMass Minutemen.
How about this soccer team, man? How about the squad, Corey, playing for another natty, taking on Stanford later tonight, man. The number one team in the nation.
One more to go. Have they played Stanford this year? Can you check that real quick?
I'm on it.
So that's the two ACC juggernauts. Yeah, man, that's cool that Florida State is back here. They had some hiccups this year. It wasn't as typically smooth Florida State regular season. But then, yeah, man, to kind of find their stride now where they've won 5 postseason games in a row against, 4 good teams, that's encouraging. They're playing well. They're playing as well as they have all year going into the final game. I assume they're underdogs because Stanford is number 1. Maybe they're undefeated. I don't know Stanford's deal. But I do know that Florida State got there barely. If any of y'all watched that last minute, that was crazy. I had some people over, not necessarily to watch the soccer game, but it was on. And in the final minute, we're all crowded around watching it. And then when that girl had that shot, point-blank range to tie it up with literally like 3 seconds left, and then it got blocked, we all let an audible scream out. Like, oh, my. Because it was so crazy, Aslan. It was crazy that there was 23 seconds left. Florida State, all they had to do was kick it to the length of the field, into the corner, and the game's over. Also, the clock stopped running for some reason.
Unbelievable.
Like a ball bounced onto the field or something that shouldn't have been there, so they stopped the clock, which was ridiculous. So anyway, Florida State didn't get to run that extra 8 seconds off the clock. They make let's just say, a bad clearance right into the middle of the field to give TCU a run. And then she somehow gets behind the last line of defense and gets off a point-blank shot, but saved. That was very, very white-knuckly. Literally, it would have gone in with a second left. And did you know, I saw this at a soccer game, a state championship soccer game once. I never knew this. If you kick a ball with 2 seconds left and the horn sounds while the ball's in the air, even if it goes in the goal, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
It has to go in before the clock hits 0. Because the game I was watching, it was a state championship game where my buddy's daughter was playing in. Her team kicked the ball from 30 yards out. The goalkeeper just walked away because the horn sounded. The ball goes into the net, and we all start going crazy thinking they just tied the game. But no, it's where the ball is when 0 strikes. I'm glad they don't do that in basketball. Anyway, Noles play for their 5th national championship tonight. Have no idea what channel it's on. I'm going to guess an ESPN property, ESPNU, against number 1 Stanford. Hopefully Penske can win his 2nd, and the Noles can win their 5th.
It will be on ESPNU, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Kansas City, Missouri is where the game's going down. The College Cup. These two teams did meet earlier this season, October 16th in Tallahassee. Stanford victorious 2-1.
Okay,
in that showdown.
So they know they can play with them.
Yeah,
I doubt Florida State ever walks onto a field or a pitch, if you want to be one of those people, and wonders if they can play with the team on the other side. I feel like they're always pretty confident they can play with whoever they're matched up against. Also, before we go, shout out to our friend, my friend, your friend, Spencer.
Yeah,
he is
super fan.
He is flying out to Kansas City today.
Spence.
To go watch these Noles in Kansas City. So there's a real Nole for you. He flew out to California to watch them win a championship a few years ago.
Nice.
Now he's flying out to Kansas City to hope he can see them win tonight. I doubt they're playing in Arrowhead, but wherever they're playing, I hope they pull out the dub and get another national championship.
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but they've got an MLS team, so they're playing at that arena. They're not playing at Arrowhead. On the way out, Corey, I had this screen up the other day because I had to make sure this was a real thing. You know, Kevin Noles is like playing football in the NFL right now.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. By the way, he was. Did you realize he was a part of that 2023 team that wasn't good enough to play in the playoffs, along with Tatum Bethune and Verse and Fisk and Jarian Jones and Keon Coleman? Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Actually, that makes it 11-10 then. Who's got more players in the NFL? Are there more players in the NFL that Jimbo Fisher recruited to Florida State or Mike Norvell?
Recruited or coached?
Recruited.
So, like, does Verse count?
Correct.
He does.
Yeah.
I would say now it's probably Norvell because he had 10 on that one team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he also got Azaria. He's got Fitzgerald. Don't forget those guys.
Correct. I forgot to put Bethune on there, but yeah, I gave him credit for Keon and Fisk and Verse. I got to give him credit for Bethune. So it'd be 11-10. Mike, just by a whisker over my guy Jimbo.
Buddy, how about who are the 10 that Jimbo had? I know
But you know,
too long.
we could have made this a tie if we would have given Jimbo Asante Samuel Jr., which he did recruit and Willie hung on to. But yeah,
and he just joined the Steelers, right?
Yeah,
Asante?
yeah. Mike doesn't get credit for Renardo Green. He did not recruit Renardo Green.
Right.
Here are the guys that are in the league that Jimbo.
Let me guess.
All right, go.
Ramsey and Derwin.
Correct.
Mario Edwards and Eddie Goldman.
Correct.
That's it. That's all I got.
Oh,
I'm out.
You got more than that. Cam Akers, Brian Burns.
Oh, yeah.
Bobby Hart still drawing a check,
Still doing
man. Incredible. Derek Nottie.
The quarterback, probably.
Correct. Who was on, he was on Fox's pregame show the other day.
Oh, that's his next career.
Yeah.
Unless he wants to become a coach at Florida State.
Yeah. And then Josh Sweat. A lot of five stars. A lot of Cam Akers, 5-star. Brian Burns, 5-star. Mario Edwards, 5-star. I think Eddie Goldman was a high 4.
I was going to say the guy Eddie Goldman was a 5-star. I mean, I think the ones that had the lasting power probably usually have a lot of stars by their name when they're coming out of high school too. Yeah. And shout out to Josh Sweat again. Like that guy, I think he's got double-digit sacks this year. And I also want to give a shout-out to Brian Burns. He's a guy that kind of gets forgotten as a Florida State great because he was in the last Jimbo years, end of Jimbo, beginning of Willie. So it wasn't. That's when the cratering started. But man, he has been a perennial All-Pro, and maybe a borderline Hall of Famer at this point if he puts together a few more years. Like he's been awesome.
Yeah, man,
for a good long while.
Yeah, and it was a total. I mean, he was highly recruited, but he came in skinny as a rail, and he was total project. And we've seen a lot of those guys not pan out. He panned out. And, Josh Sweat, 11 sacks on the season right now. Good for him, man.
And what's Brian Burns? Brian Burns has got to be close. So they have like 2 of the sack leaders in the league. Both Jimbo guys, but both Florida State guys.
13. Cool. He is second in the NFL right now, Brian Burns, with 13 sacks. And Josh Sweat is tied for 4th with 11.
And Josh Sweat, I think, had
GM.
Hey, I'm all about it, man. If they want to do it, do it. But I wonder how many sacks Josh Sweat had at Florida State, because I don't think in total it was 11. And that's not to criticize him.
No, I know.
He was hurt.
14 and a half.
Okay, all right. I feel like he was hurt a good bit. He was coming off that devastating leg injury.
Yep.
In high school. But yeah, man, that's really cool. And I would have liked to got to know him while he was here, but we never really got to talk to players that much. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, man, that's really cool that he's had the career he's had. So Florida State's got like 22 guys in the league.
Yep. Something like that. Yeah, 22.
All right, let's see how many they're going to be. They're going to be flooding the NFL again in no time, folks.
That's right.
Once we get this GM in here, going to be flooding it in no time.
Mailbag show tomorrow, or maybe it'll drop on Wednesday. Corey and I will talk about that off air. But check out the Tribal Council, warchant.com for that thread and get your questions in. And we'll be back with hopefully a lot of shows. I do want to have a lot of shows this week, Corey, because I think it would mean that there's a lot of changes being announced, which we all would like. And if there's not, we're not going to do a bunch of shows that are negative, and we'll just give everybody the day off, mental health day or whatever. So Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock, warchant.com, around the clock. Check it all out. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Certainly would appreciate all that. He's Corey Maslon. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Warchant. Presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code.